So when you say that people are leaving money on the table, how much value are people actually typically overlooking? As everyday costs climb, many of us are searching for any way at all to stretch every dollar that we've got. But what if part of your paycheck isn't even in your paycheck? I'm your host, Josh Sidorowicz. This is the In Your Corner podcast from CBS News Philadelphia. So from retirement matches to health perks, even emergency assistance, your employer benefits package could be worth thousands more than you even realize. And today, we are breaking down the hidden money that you do not want to leave on the table with certified financial planner Dan Hernandez of Milestone Wealth Management based out of Voorhees. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
No, thank you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
This is something that I'm even guilty of, to be honest. So when you say that people are leaving money on the table, I mean, how significant is that? Like, could you put a dollar? How much value are people actually typically overlooking?
I mean, it could be thousands of dollars a year for sure, and it's really just not being aware of what's out there, what your employer is providing you. So yeah, it can be significant.
Let's talk about the big one here. How many people are missing out on employer matches?
A ton. I have obviously a bunch of clients, but I handle a bunch of 401ks myself. Where my role in these 401ks is to talk to employees and get them to enroll in their company's 401k. And I'm not going to say most, a lot of 401ks offer a match, which is an inducement to participate. If the employee puts away money, the employer will match dollar for dollar on the first 4%, 50 cents on the dollar on the first 6%. The match will take one of those shapes, but it's contingent upon you putting money away to get that match. And a lot of people that feel they're living paycheck to paycheck say, "Oh, I can't afford to contribute to the 401k.
Yeah.
I'm too young to worry about retirement." Whatever reason they have reasons to not contribute, and that leaves them leaving money on the table. This is free. Your employer is giving you money to participate.
I was going to say, is the simplest way to kind of think about a match that is basically free money?
Yeah. Now, your employer is saying, if you contribute, I'll contribute with you. I mean, it doesn't get any easier or any freer than that. I mean, sometimes it's tied into you have to, be there a number of years to fully get it, but it's still just extra money they're giving you.
And just to talk basics about it, it's usually like a match up to a percentage of your overall.
Yeah, typical matches are, like I said, dollar for dollar on the first 4%, meaning if you contribute 4% of your salary, they'll contribute that same 4% of your salary to the 401k plan. Or it could be 50 cents on the dollar, meaning if you put away 6%, they'll give you 3%.
Okay.
But it's still money they're giving you. And like I said, on the back end, it could be tied to you staying there, 3 years, 5 years. There could be some type of vesting schedule, but it's still just extra money they're giving you.
It's hard. And you had mentioned this when we were talking before this in the green room. Usually when you're setting this stuff up, this is like when you're first starting out of the job. It's like that first 2 weeks of chaos where you're a fish out of water, and I can see why people overlook it.
Yeah, and oftentimes you're not eligible for the first 30 days, for the first 90 days. So there's often a waiting period. And then, you wait, but nobody gives you a heads up. Hey, you're eligible now, and people it's out of sight, out of mind. Or, like I said, their default is I can't afford this. I got other things going on in my life, and because it's free money, it should. I think as a financial planner, anyway, it should be a priority. You need to put money away for yourself, and they're helping you. Your employer is trying to help you and give you money.
Future self is going to thank you for that money 20, 30, 40
Absolutely.
years down the road.
And it's a way to look at it is I have clients, concerned about the market, concerned about their returns. You're making 100% on your money right off the bat. If they're matching you and you put away 3% and they're giving you 3%, it's 100%. You just made 100% on your investment before the money gets invested at all. So it's such a great investment, if you look at it that way, to just participate and get this money.
Instant return on investment.
Yeah.
So what if, let's say you can't max out at like that 4% that's typical. What would you recommend, like the minimum you could start doing today?
Do whatever you can. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
The wrong answer is don't contribute at all and miss out. Obviously, budgetary restraints are real. Not everybody can afford to put away, whatever is going to get them the most match. But you got to try to do it, because the reality is, like you said, your future self's going to thank you. The recommendation is, if you can swing it, at least put away as much as you have to get all they're going to give you. And that number usually isn't real high. It's like I said, 3%, 6% at most.
That adds up. That compounds.
And it compounds when it's actually twice that. You put away 5% of your salary, you're actually getting 10% into the account. So yeah, it adds up, and like I said, it's free.
The power of compounding too, which I feel like people sometimes overlook, just that concept in general, and how big of a difference it makes.
And time. Yeah. If you do anything for 30 years, it's going to add up. In fact, it's more important if you put away money for 10 years, when you're 25 years old, and do it from your age 25 to 35, and then stop because, life has different plans for you. That's more valuable than you putting money away the last 20 years of your retirement, because that money has all this time to grow.
All right, so that's future self. Let's talk about like immediate savings here. I'm thinking like your health and wellness benefits that are part of your health insurance plans, right?
Yeah, things can get complicated when you start talking about, health insurance, but real often there's other plans, health savings accounts. There's certainly, health insurance that you can sometimes opt in, opt out, and especially couples that have a significant other or a spouse that has health insurance, that maybe that they can be covered under their spouse's health insurance. There's some things that you should kind of explore there. Do you need this health insurance if you're covered under your spouse's? And if you forego this health insurance, a lot of companies will give you money to not be under their health insurance. That could work out. Maybe you need both because there's gaps. Not every health insurance plan covers everything. So you need to kind of explore that and see if there's any benefit you're missing in doing that. But that's a big one.
You mentioned health savings accounts, HSAs, there's FSAs, flexible spending accounts.
Yes.
Could you kind of walk us through just a quick explainer on like what the difference is?
Yeah, I mean, HSA, health savings account, generally they're pre-tax money. So you put the money away, you're saving that taxes. And they can be used, there's a number of qualified expenses that they can be used for. They can be used for child care. They can be used for if you don't have a vision plan, you can still use the HSA money for contact lenses, eyeglasses. Yeah. You could use it for other insurance, if you wanted to buy a disability policy on the side.
That's what makes them so powerful, right? I mean, people don't realize there's a lot that they can use that money to spend it on.
And it's pre-tax. Again, they're getting this tax benefit for stuff that they're probably going to spend anyway. I mean, presumably if you have a child and you need childcare, you're paying for childcare. So why not do it with pre-tax money? If you need contact lenses every couple of months, why not do it with pre-tax money if you have the opportunity to?
And FSAs are just they're post-tax.
Yeah, but same idea.
Same idea. But that's more of a use it or lose it kind of situation.
Yeah, and
right?
they're broader as far as qualified expenses, because again, you're not getting the tax benefit, so it can be used for more things.
Sure.
So you're not limited to certain types of expenses.
Are there any kind of benefit? I'm thinking of like benefits that people might overlook under this umbrella of health. I don't know, like gym reimbursements, right? I think that's something that's even included in our health plan here.
Yeah, no, gym reimbursements are certainly becoming more popular as part of health insurance plans. There could be discounts if you don't smoke. Things that are kind of more easy to attain. They don't really. They can look at health and past medical issues,
right.
But they can certainly look at gym memberships. Do you smoke or not smoke? So those are easy ones to I think achieve.
Or even like taking advantage. Maybe there's like telehealth or some kind of mental health or other things that people don't necessarily think of being associated with their insurance, and that's all part of the benefit.
Yeah, they're getting broader for sure. Mental health wasn't always part of these plans. In the last 10 years, they've become more prevalent.
What about life insurance? That sometimes falls under this umbrella.
Yeah, that's another benefit that employers give employees, where they'll get certainly some kind of percentage of their income, 1.5 times your salary as life insurance. There's something that you get as a benefit, and then oftentimes you're allowed to buy a little more at a cheaper price, because employers are getting any insurance policy an employer is getting on your behalf is a group policy, meaning the pricing is going to be cheaper than you going out and getting something yourself as an individual. So explore that. The downside of that kind of stuff is if you leave the job, then you're probably losing that. But nevertheless, while you're there, it could be a cheap benefit. Certainly, part of it can be free. Part of it can be a discounted price that you're paying. But yeah, you need to explore. And to the point you made earlier, when you get a job early on, you're overwhelmed with information. They're just throwing everything at you. Here's what you got. It pays to go back to your benefits office, to HR, and say, hey, just give me a rundown of all the benefits that are available to me in case I'm missing something, because chances are you probably are.
So talking, lesser known benefits there, are there some programs that like people don't even know exist? Like I'm trying to think, I was really shocked to learn that, I think our company does like some tuition reimbursements even. Like those, there's a lot of that companies will do that people wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, there's tuition reimbursements. There's certainly, everybody has a state disability plan, in case you get injured or can't work. A lot of companies enhance that with their own plan that can extend, for argument's sake, family leave. If you have a child, the state covers you for a certain amount of time, but your company can extend that if they have a plan that you're part of, where you can, spend 12 weeks at home with your newborn child and still get paid or get paid a percentage of your salary. So yeah, tuition reimbursement is big. Certainly, disability insurances, in some cases, long-term care insurance. There's a variety of insurances that, as individuals we can buy that employers can facilitate by making it part of a group policy or supplementing, your cost to do that.
And maybe even like a commuter reimbursement or something. If you're taking public transit. Or
Yeah, especially in the city,
in the
for
city,
sure, where parking and transportation's
or parking costs.
where parking transportation's an issue. They understand that, and they oftentimes offer benefits, discounts, ways to for them to give you money towards those expenses.
And admittedly, so we have our portal here at Paramount, and I have not explored it probably as best as I should, but I've heard from other colleagues.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
I've heard about it from colleagues. But no, I mean, even it offers like discounts to certain businesses if you use the code that's offered, or discounts on like a car lease even, or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is continuously changing.
Yeah.
So to your point, go on the portal, because there's stuff that could be on there that wasn't on there a year ago. And benefits change. Companies get different packages offered to them that they can take advantage of, and therefore their employees can take advantage of it.
Which segues great then into kind of the last part I wanted to talk about here is like, okay, let's take some action on this. You know that all this exists. Now what? What is like the first one or two things that you would recommend someone listening to this do today?
Well, first of all, is if you don't think you have a full understanding of all your benefits, get a full understanding. That means go to HR, go to your benefits office, and get a rundown of everything that's available to you. Secondly, assuming one of those to our previous point, I think the most important one of all is your retirement plan. So if you're not participating or you're not taking full advantage of the match, even if you are participating, find a way to do it. I mean, it's obviously budgetary restraints are real. I'm not saying everybody can afford to do everything that I'm telling them to do.
But a little can go a long way and can make it different. I think people too, they underestimate, or they think like, well, because I can't put more aside, then it's not worth it at all. But
yeah, we're talking again, to take advantage of your company's match is generally, put away 5%, 6% of your salary, which
that's a lot.
Is real money, but it means so much to you and will mean so much down the road, especially if that 5% translates to 10% after your employer matches it. Yeah. So and look, you start small, but you got to do something. And a lot of people that I talk to are like, oh, I can't afford it. It's not going to matter. The little bit I can do isn't going to add up.
Yeah, or what's 1%?
Yeah, and you have to do it. And if you do 1%, then hopefully next year you'll get a pay raise and do 2%. But you got to start somewhere and be consistent with it.
I'm glad you brought that up too. Is to like keep keep at it, because if your pay rate changes or whatever, you want to make sure to go in and adjust that as well in tandem.
Absolutely. I can't tell you. Look, I've been a financial planner for 35 years. I can't tell you how many clients I have who have literally hundreds of thousands of dollars who start off putting away $25 a paycheck,
See?
$50 a paycheck, and it adds up. And you do anything for 25, 30 years, it's going to add up. And these employer matches are making it so simple for you to do so.
And maybe it's one of those things, you turn the calendar over to each new year. You just kind of do an annual check-in on where you're at with those things.
Yeah, and if you work with an advisor, they can certainly help you. But most 401k plans, have an 800 number, or somebody you can talk to who can at least give you some general. They can't give you investment advice, but they can certainly tell you about the parameters of the plan, how much the match is, how long you got to be there to really take advantage of it.
It's tough because I feel like most people just want to do like set it and forget it.
Yeah, and the set it and forget it is a good idea sometimes, especially with the investment part. You don't want to stress over the stock market every week because it'll make you nuts.
Yeah.
So set it and forget it in that way is good. But as far as how much you're putting away, kind of reviewing that, make sure it's enough for you, that it's going to get you to where you want to be 20 years later. That's something that I do with clients. We do projections based on how much you're doing. So yeah, you want to make sure you're on the right path, on track to get to where you want to be. And part of that is, kind of consistently increasing what you're doing.
Set it and forget it for maybe a few months at a time, and then come back to it.
But no, that's the best, the people that do it. And some plans allow you to do an automatic increase. Like you said, if I'm putting away 5% of my salary, it'll be 5% as my salary increases. Other plans make you pick a dollar amount that you need to go in and change if you want to increase. So again, know that about your plan. Each plan's different. Sometimes a percentage, again, will grow with you. The dollar amount you need to adjust.
All right. So, look, don't leave money on the table, because your paycheck, I think thinking about your paycheck is really only part of your pay.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have a full benefits package, and oftentimes, benefit packages can be, 20%. Companies a lot, 20% of whatever their payroll expenses to benefits. So that's can be what all this adds up to between 401k match, health insurance, some of these other plans, HSA plans, life insurance. All this can add up, and 20% of your salary is a lot. Some of it you're getting, some of it you have to do something to get. So make sure you're taking the action that you need to fully benefit from your benefits.
You've earned it. You're owed it. Make sure you're claiming.
Absolutely.
It.
Absolutely.
Dan Hernandez with Milestone Wealth Management based out of Voorhees. Appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
First time appearance. Hopefully we'll have you back.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dan.